Don't you ask me to stop?
Let's do it! Let's share this magical moment with everybody! Kill me!
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review of the 2020 horror film Final Caller. The film is written and directed by Todd Sheets and it stars Douglas Epps, Rachel Lagan and Jack McCord. And while this is a 2020 film, it's just getting its release now through Wildeye releasing. I know, it's a Wildeye film, guys, don't turn off. We know that Wildeye films have got a certain label attached to them in regards to quality. I think that is a fair statement to make. However, does this one follow the pattern of usual Wildeye releases, or is it something a little bit different? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the story. The film focuses on a shock jock called Roland Bennett, who is like a late night radio host who likes nothing more than abusing his callers, basically. He's not a very nice guy in his personal life or on the air. But he has a fan called the Outsider, who is a bit of a maniacal serial killer. Rings him up, gets blasted on air by Roland, and he decides he's not going to take that and turns up at the radio station to take revenge. Right, what are my thoughts on Final Caller? Right, okay, well, let's get some obvious things out of the way. This is a Wildeye release, so you need to check your expectations at the door. This is a low-budget release, and that is very, very obvious as soon as the film starts, that this is a low-budget film. However, it's also fairly smart in its approach, in the sense of like this DJ, and so most of the film is set in like this one building, which is where he does his radio show and things like that. And that's okay. So they've been smart in regards to the choice of locations, and it works. It feels like it's a radio station. It feels like a building where this radio host would do his show from. It felt like a real radio station, if you like. There's people working there. He has producers. There's a janitor, security guard, so on and so forth. So it all feels, a lot of these low budget films, when you get like people being interviewed by police, in interview rooms. They're clearly not interview rooms. It's just somebody's back lounge with a sofa and a table sort of thing. That's not the case if it all feels quite genuine in regards to what they're trying to convince us that this place is. The performances here are what you would expect for a film of this budget. I'm trying to be kind here a little bit. It is not high quality performances by everybody. I do think there are some that are okay, and it will depend really on your tolerance levels for films like this. If you're tolerant of low budget films and the pitfalls that come with those type of films, then you're going to be more tolerant than others. If you go into this film not expecting to see a low budget film, you're probably going to be fairly horrified fairly quickly. The film is pretty gruesome. I'm not going to lie. There was there's a number of scenes that are pretty grotesque here. So again, fans of low budget gore fests are going to find things here to enjoy. I found it a little bit too much sometimes. I'm all for inventive kills in these type of movies, but I don't think, I was about to say I think it crosses the line, but that might be a little bit too dramatic to say. But it's gruesome and it will make you wince, and they've certainly tried to give you plenty to enjoy if you're a fan of gore in films like this. It's a fairly simple story, as I explained at the beginning, that gets quite complex as the film goes on, which kind of baffled me a little bit, because as things happen when this killer gets to this radio station, there's another plot that evolves about another killer keeping people locked in cages. And it all gets a bit weird, and it all gets a bit overly confused and overly convoluted, and dilutes, I think, what was essentially a fairly simple plot of this late night radio DJ host basically being horrible to people, and he kind of is horrible to the wrong person. So he decides to come and make an example of him. That was a nice, simple plot, easy to follow, and then it just gets. They keep adding these layers on about 3/4 of the way through, or a little bit less. They keep adding these layers onto it, and you're just kind of like, we didn't need that, to confuse the plot. It was fine as it was, but it is what it is, sort of thing. There's even a character in this film walking around brazenly wearing a Wildeye t-shirt. Yes, they are trying very hard to be meta here, Wildeye. So props to them, I suppose. So this tolerant, if you are tolerant of low-budget films and like low-budget gore in these sort of things, and you are tolerant of all the things that come with it, there may be things here for you guys to appreciate. The rest of us, it's not brilliant, if I'm honest, and, I found some of the violence a little bit too much, certainly for me, for my taste anyway, so I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 10, so let me know in the comments if you've seen this one, what you think of it, and of course, I'll be back with more reviews on the channel very, very soon.